Imagine, for a moment, an island where time hasn't just slowed down, it has effectively folded in on itself. This is the Lesser Sunda Islands of Indonesia. Here, the landscape is a jagged mosaic of volcanic peaks and scorched savannas. In this isolated pocket of the world, the rules of modern biology don't seem to apply. The apex predator here isn't a big cat or a pack of wolves. It is a lizard. But calling the Komodo dragon a lizard is like calling a hurricane a breeze. It is a creature that defies every standard expectation of reptilian behavior, biology, and evolutionary history. Nothing about the Komodo dragon is normal. And to understand why, we have to look past its scaly exterior and into a biological blueprint that feels almost alien. For decades, we were told a specific story about the Komodo dragon, that it was a classic example of island gigantism. The theory suggested that a smaller ancestor arrived on these islands and, in the absence of large mammalian predators, grew to a massive size to fill the vacant ecological niche. It's a neat, logical story, but it's completely wrong. Paleontological evidence now suggests that the Komodo dragon is actually a relic population of a much wider lineage that once dominated Australia and Southeast Asia. They didn't get big on the islands. They were already giants when they arrived. They are the last survivors of a guild of Megalania-style monitor lizards that once shared the landscape with giant wombats and marsupial lions. When the world changed and the other giants vanished, the Komodo dragon held its ground in this tiny Indonesian corner, becoming a living ghost of a forgotten era. The abnormality of the dragon begins with its sensory world. Most predators rely heavily on sight or sound, but the Komodo dragon experiences the world through a chemical haze. Its most iconic feature, the long, flickering, forked yellow tongue, is a sophisticated high-tech sensor. It doesn't taste the air, it samples it. By flicking its tongue, it gathers microscopic scent particles and delivers them to the Jacobson's organ in the roof of its mouth. Because the tongue is forked, the dragon can perceive stereo scent. It can tell if a rotting carcass is more concentrated on the left or the right, allowing it to track a scent trail from over 5 miles away. Imagine being able to smell a single drop of blood from across an entire island. In the still, hot air of Komodo National Park, this lizard is essentially seeing a map of the island written in molecules. When the dragon finds its prey, the normalcy ends and the nightmare begins. For years, the scientific community believed the dragon killed through filth. The narrative was that the dragon's mouth was so teeming with septic bacteria that a single bite would cause a slow, agonizing death by infection. This bacteria theory was accepted as fact for nearly half a century. However, in 2009, a team led by Dr. Brian Fry discovered something far more terrifying. The Komodo dragon doesn't rely on dirty mouths. It has complex, multi-chambered venom glands. This venom is not like a cobra's, which shuts down the nervous system, or a rattlesnake's, which melts tissue. Instead, Komodo venom is a sophisticated cocktail of anticoagulants and vasodilators. When a dragon bites, the venom prevents the prey's blood from clotting and forces the blood vessels to open wide. The result is a catastrophic drop in blood pressure. The prey doesn't die from a dirty bite. It goes into a state of profound shock and literally bleeds out from the inside. This is why a dragon can bite a water buffalo, a creature 10 times its size, and simply wait. It doesn't need to wrestle the buffalo to the ground. It just needs to wait for the chemistry to do its work. The dragon's physical toolkit for delivering this venom is equally specialized. Their teeth are ziphidont, deeply serrated, curved backward, and incredibly sharp. They are designed not for crushing bone, but for slicing through flesh like a steak knife. Behind these teeth is a jaw structure that allows for incredible expansion. A Komodo dragon can consume up to 80% of its own body weight in a single sitting. To put that in perspective, imagine a 150-pound human eating 120 pounds of meat in 1 hour. Their stomach is like a biological balloon, expanding to accommodate massive chunks of bone, hide, and meat. But here's where it gets truly strange. If you are swallowing a deer whole, your throat is completely blocked. How do you breathe? The Komodo dragon has evolved a small, reinforced tube under its tongue that connects directly to its lungs. This breathing snorkel allows the dragon to continue respiring even while its entire gullet is stuffed with a carcass. They are optimized for the feast in a way that few other vertebrates are. And because their metabolism is so efficient as cold-blooded reptiles, a single large meal can sustain them for over a month. They are the ultimate masters of feast or famine. Perhaps the most abnormal thing about the Komodo dragon, however, is how they are born. In 2006, a female Komodo dragon named Flora, living in a London zoo, did something that shocked the world. She laid a clutch of viable eggs despite never having been in contact with a male. This is called parthenogenesis, virgin birth. While some lizards can do this, it was thought to be impossible for a vertebrate as large and complex as a Komodo dragon. Biologically, they utilize a ZW sex determination system, which is different from our XY system. Through a complex process of egg cell doubling, a female dragon can essentially provide all the genetic material necessary to create an embryo. The offspring produced this way are always male, and they are not clones. They are half clones with unique genetic reshuffling. From an evolutionary standpoint, this is a brilliant emergency strategy. If a single female dragon is washed away to a new, uninhabited island, she can lay eggs, produce a population of males, and eventually mate with them to establish a brand new colony. They are built for survival in the most literal sense, carrying the tools for an entire species within a single individual. Even their social lives defy the lonely lizard trope. Most reptiles are solitary and instinct-driven, but Komodo dragons exhibit a level of intelligence and social hierarchy that is unsettling. They have been observed playing with objects in captivity, moving balls, or tugging at shoes without the motivation of food. In the wild, they gather in large groups to feed, following a strict might makes right hierarchy. The largest males eat first, followed by smaller adults, and finally the juveniles. The young dragons, knowing they are on the menu for their larger cousins, have developed a disgusting but effective survival strategy. They roll in the feces of carcasses to make themselves smell so foul that the adults won't eat them. They also spend the first few years of their lives living in trees, as their heavy-set elders are too bulky to climb. But despite their status as the kings of their domain, the Komodo dragon is a fragile giant. They live in one of the smallest geographic ranges of any large predator on Earth. They are restricted to a few islands in a region of the world that is increasingly threatened by rising sea levels and changing climates. Because they're so specialized for this specific environment, they have nowhere else to go. Their abnormalities, their size, their venom, their unique birth methods are all fine-tuned for a world that is rapidly shifting. In the end, the Komodo dragon is a reminder that evolution doesn't always move in a straight line toward mammalian dominance. It shows us that under the right conditions, the ancient models of life, the giant, venomous, dragon-like monitors of the Pleistocene, can still thrive. They are a bridge to a past we can barely imagine, a time when the world was filled with monsters. They aren't normal because they aren't part of our modern, curated world. They belong to a wilder, more brutal version of Earth. And as we watch that yellow tongue flicker in the Indonesian heat, we aren't just looking at a lizard. We're looking at a masterclass in biological defiance. The Komodo dragon isn't just a survivor. It is an anomaly that has turned every disadvantage into a weapon, proving that sometimes the best way to survive the future is to remain firmly rooted in the ancient past.